951, Big 550 KTRS. Gas, a barrel of gas was down below $40. It jumped up a little bit yesterday. But what is going on and how low will it go? Greg Lakowski is a senior petroleum analyst with GasBuddy.com. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning.
How low is this going to go?
You know, I wish I had a crystal ball because an awful lot of people are asking me that question. We see the national average right now at $2.51 a gallon. That's come down 12 cents a gallon in the past week. But in St. Louis, believe it or not, the average price is $2.15, and that's down 37 cents a gallon just in the past week. So I'll guarantee you that whatever price we see the national number get to, St. Louis and Missouri will be much, much lower.
So
we go ahead.
Yeah. So what's going on? First, let's talk with supply and demand. Why now? Why are we seeing such a giant dip in this price?
It's a couple of things happening at the same time. Over the last 6 weeks or so, we've seen crude oil prices just plummet. We started the month with crude at about almost $47 a barrel, which is pretty cheap, and we saw it get as low as $37 a barrel. It's bounced back up this morning. It's around $41.95. Not a tremendous increase, but this is the low end of the spectrum, and there's a lot of analysts who think that we could see crude oil get as low as $30 a barrel, perhaps in the next month or two. I don't know if we'll see that, but what we do know is that the cheaper gasoline is going to be getting into the market by mid-September. That's because of the federal regulations that allow the winter blend gasoline to be put back into the market no later than October 1st. So the summer blend gas, which is more expensive, that's going away very shortly. And at the same time, we're looking at a glut of fuel supply, not just in the United States, but really on a global scale.
We are hearing that Russia and Venezuela are begging for some type of OPEC meeting to sort of stop this slide. Iran, if this deal goes through, is going to start to allow their gas to be sold on the open market. We're seeing America, with its technology, create more gas. We're also seeing hybrids and fuel-efficient cars. Is all of that the reason why gas is so low?
Yes, it is. And you made a very good point. If we all drive the exact same number of miles this year that we drove last year, as a nation, we'll consume less gasoline, precisely because of what you pointed out. There's more hybrids. The vehicles that we replace our old cars with inevitably get better fuel economy, and this is all part of the equation that's pushing gasoline prices lower.
How much of this lower gasoline has to do with the dollar getting stronger?
That's another. You're really on top of this. When the dollar gets stronger, we see commodity prices move lower. But when the dollar is weak, which we saw years ago, back in 2008, when we saw record high crude oil and gasoline prices, a weak dollar pushes a lot of institutional investment into the commodities. There's a lot of speculative money that goes into crude oil when the dollar is weak. So what we're seeing right now is just the opposite. The dollar is looking stronger in relation to many other global currencies that have been hurting. China is the most obvious one, where they just reevaluated their own currency values.
It's so interesting that Russia and Venezuela are really hurting, and it sort of goes to show you that gas is not just what we fill up at the tank, but it's a national security issue. And if Venezuela and Russia, which like to saber rattle from time to time, if they're really hurting, boy, it helps us globally when gas prices are low.
No doubt about it. It helps all American consumers, but I would agree with you that it is a national security issue, and that's something that a lot of us don't realize. The warfare that is going to exist in the years ahead is going to be economic first and foremost.
That is Greg Lakowski with Senior Petroleum Analyst at GasBuddy.com. One more question for you, Greg. What's the deal with the two G's at the end of your name?
You'd have to ask my mom.
Okay, fair enough. Good. Greg Lakowski, Senior Petroleum Analyst with GasBuddy.com. Greg, have a good day. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
You got it. 7:56 here, Big 550 KTRS. What?
Well, we were talking about that.
We were
Why
talking
he
about
had
it.
an extra G on the end of his name.
I knew
Andrew Dowd.
I knew a guy who had 2 N's at the end of his name, and his name was Don.
Yeah, I
And
don't
there's the
understand that.
Donn. We used to call him Don. He was the general manager of the radio station. We never called him Don to his face, but behind his back, we were like, so what did Don say? It'd be like Kelly, K-E-L-L-E, K-E-L-Y-Y. Wouldn't make any
don't
sense.
get it.
M-C-G-R-A-W-W.
W.
Yeah, it's an extra W. No one would call me McGraw. McGraw. Maybe, I don't know if somebody would, but that'd be weird.
The magic that happens behind the scenes.
I know.
That is the magic.
Things we talk about.
But this gas prices thing, it's real. I think the whole thing is that Russia's begging for OPEC to meet. Please raise gas prices. You're killing us over here. I say just bleed them dry. Just get gas so low. It just, right? It just, they come to the bargaining table at their knees. Please let us up. That's why fuel efficiency cars, drilling everywhere, all this technology, it's all together helping. It's really interesting.
It is.